I was devastated when I discovered my wife's adultery in quarantine. I divorced her and continued over her concerns. I never expected to tell my story on Reddit. Life throws curveballs. I'm 35, married Lizzie, 33, 7 years. In our sophomore year of college, we met as computer science majors with tech dreams. I recall our first meeting. We studied for a difficult algorithms exam in the college library. Lizzie borrowed my notes and we studied. Numerous study sessions made us inseparable. Bad jokes, sci-fi movies, and coding connected us. We moved in together after graduation and working at city tech firms. Our relationship was flawed. We always solved problems. Lizzie's mother had sick 3 years into our relationship. Throughout, I backed her. We held hands during hospital visits, reminded her to eat, and listened when she needed to vent. After her mother died a year later, we struggled but grew closer. Our small wedding in Lizzie's hometown was attended by family and friends. Early marriage was good. Both got promotions. I bought a wonderful suburban house and pondered having kids. We had ups and downs, but I thought we were stable. After the epidemic, everything changed. Early quarantine wasn't bad. We worked from home, started new hobbies, and spent more time together. I fulfilled a lifetime desire by learning guitar. The smell of Lizzie's bread and cookies filled our home. Our neighbor Ross, 38, periodically talk over the fence or offer his homemade vegetables. He was friendly and always willing to help or laugh. There was little thought. Lizzie grew aloof over weeks and months. She played her phone for hours, ignoring me. When asked, she stated she was on social media or gaming. What could I do except trust her during lockdown? I tried saving our relationship. I made her favorite dinners and furnished our living room like a restaurant for date nights. I attempted her birthday cake. Though it failed, she laughed and we ate it. Lizzie persisted in withdrawing despite my efforts. I woke up early at 4 months into quarantine to find Lizzie not in bed. She might be in the kitchen, so I went downstairs. The house was unoccupied. She left Ross's house in her pajamas while I watched from the window. I asked her about it when she returned. I borrowed sugar for baking, she said. Though strange, I let it go to avoid paranoia. I kept becoming annoyed. When I tried to spend time with Lizzie, she was on her phone taking calls in another room. And irritated. I also saw her cheer up when Ross came outside or checked the mail several times a day. Despite my doubts, the signs were there. When I couldn't sleep, I examined our phone bill. I saw hundreds of texts and calls between Lizzie and Ross, often late at night or early in the morning. Heart fell. The next day I addressed Lizzie. At first, she protested everything. She cried when I revealed her phone records. She admitted to dating Ross for 3 months. Ross heard her isolation and constrained sentiments. She recounted initial emotion. Eventually materialized. Devastated. My one-time life partner betrayed me the worst. I liked our neighbor. I recall hosting barbecues and assisting Ross and his wife with their initial move. This made me queasy. I told Lizzie I needed time to think and stayed with my brother in the weeks that followed. I reflected. I thought about our marriage, our good times, and whether I could trust her again. After I lost my work in the recession, Lizzie was my rock. We bonded after a sad miscarriage 2 years ago. Every day I imagined her sneaking around with Ross and lying to me. They might mock me behind my back. My blood boiled. I recognized I couldn't win. I failed to restore trust. When I came home, I informed Lizzie I wanted a divorce. She pleaded with me to reconsider, claiming it was a mistake and committed to fixing it. She examined our past and future. I lost trust. She couldn't imagine living next door to her cheater and worrying if it was still going on. I left and divorced. Lizzie said we could negotiate instead of signing the paperwork. She suggested couples therapy, trial separation, anything to save our marriage. She agreed when I showed her phone records and text messages revealing her infidelity. A few months later, the divorce is nearly final. Rebuilding my life in a little flat. Some friends agreed. With some believing I should have tried more to save the marriage. I remember Lizzie's help when my dad had a heart attack last year and I was a mess. Not terrible, I guess. I kept our trust and commitments. Moving on is my goal. Not simple. Sometimes I miss our lives and future. We talked having kids, buying a vacation home, and aging together. None of that remains. Some nights I feel like I'm making a mistake. Remembering the treachery and dishonesty helps me do the right thing. So Reddit, AITA for divorcing my wife after discovering her affair in quarantine. Update: significant changes have occurred since my last post a few months ago. I appreciate everyone's advice and assistance. It helped me through a bad patch. Final divorce. It was hard, but I'm glad it's over. Lizzie originally claimed the affair was a quarantine-related error, but I revealed months of text messages, late-night calls, and security camera evidence of her entering and leaving Ross's home. Finally, she quit. My original essay didn't mention how this affected our broader friends and family. Lizzie's affair bombed our peer group. Friends advised me to be patient because quarantine was hard for everyone. Others concur that cheating is never justified. Tom, my college closest friend, was notably affected. Lizzie and I double dated and vacationed with him and his wife. After discovering the affair, he was almost as hurt as me. He felt duped and couldn't believe Lizzie would damage us. His wife struggles to cut Lizzie out due to their friendship. Mother and father were horrified. Lizzie was always loved and treated like a daughter. I told them what happened and Mom cried for hours. The stoic dad I knew aged 10 years overnight. But they've been useful. Dad is helping me find a new place, and Mom calls me regularly to check in. Lizzie's relatives varied. I angered her parents, not her. Their kid committed a mistake, and they accused me of abandoning her. Sister called to claim I was ruining Lizzie's life. To protect myself, I blocked their phones. Being near to Lizzie's family made it harder. After my father-in-law died of cancer a few years ago, her dad became my second father. Lizzie lost that relationship, another awful consequence. Ross departed the area a month after my divorce. After discovering the affair, his wife reportedly expelled him. My heart aches for her. This victimizes her and myself. I saw her in the store last week. The awkwardness led to a long conversation. She struggles to explain to their kids why Daddy doesn't live at home. Strangely, I was glad Lizzie and I didn't have kids. Work is hard. Before joining different companies, Lizzie and I worked together. It was difficult when our divorce became public. Many coworkers avoided me, but others wanted gossip. I switched departments to escape. Starting a new team is hard. I prefer that to my failing marriage's constant reminders, especially with everything else going on. My personal life is fine, some days better than others. I see a therapist for trust issues. It's impossible to imagine another connection. Being vulnerable again is scary. Take each day as it comes. Their assistance is great. I've also reconnected with several old friends I lost during my online game nights weekly are great distractions. I ignored my concerns for a few hours at a virtual escape room game last week. I've only spoken to Lizzie about the divorce. She lived in our old house last I heard. I sometimes pass her car in the driveway and feel like I'm seeing someone else's life. Sometimes I miss her, miss our life together. However, remembering the betrayal hurts. I'm angry and upset but hopeful. First time in months, I'm excited about the future. I'm planning a solo vacation when it's safe again, something I've always wanted but never done. I am considering hiking the Appalachian Trail or European backpacking. Thinking about doing these things alone is scary but exciting. No regrets about my choice. It's painful and not my ideal future, but I know it's healthy for me. I deserve a loyal partner who values our relationship. Reddit, thanks again for your help. It means more than you realize. 2 years after my initial post, I am providing a last update. I'm much better following the modifications, beginning with the practical. Work took me to another city. It's good to start over without painful memories. My new coworkers don't know my background, so being me instead of the unfaithful husband is good. The labor is hard but rewarding. Building AI for medical diagnostics is my passion. Contributing even somewhat feels amazing. Lizzie and I sold our home. My final link to her was splitting the earnings so I can go on. My share went to a tiny condo down payment. Though small, my first home feels like home. Furniture is coming in slowly, carefully picking each piece. Creating my own space is therapeutic. Therapy helped me a lot. Many anger and trust issues were handled. Though rare, I still get instances where everything comes back. I was nervous when my therapist advised journaling, but it's helped. Writing about my feelings helps me process. This fight unexpectedly bonded me to my brother. Letting me crash at his house and listening to me rant for hours reassured me. We chat daily and plan a brother's summer road trip. Driving the Pacific Coast Highway has been a boyhood dream. And I reconciled with Alex, my college roommate. We grew apart because Lizzie never liked him. I realize I may have missed a red flag. I've appreciated reconnecting with Alex through frequent visits. Lizzie and I haven't talked in months. Last time we sold house. She apologized again, stating she'd made her biggest mistake. I said I forgave her for me. Staying angry didn't help. I added that forgiveness isn't reconciliation. We're done. That'll remain. I discovered from mutual friends that she and Ross failed to reconcile after their divorces. Perhaps trust issues were too difficult. Not surprised. Last I heard, Lizzie returned home to be with relatives. I hope she's okay. But I'm pleased to finish that chapter. Good thing I've resumed dating. No worries yet. Still, I've met interesting people. I'm slow and upfront about my past and limits. Again, feeling butterflies is scary but exciting. I've seen Ellie for weeks. She's funny, sweet, and understands my slowness. The result is unknown. For once, I'm optimistic about a relationship. I prioritize personal growth. I finished my quarantine, started online guitar school. Several songs are mine. They help me process my emotions despite their terrible quality. A gym lets me rock climb. I like mental clarity and challenge. Say it gets better to anyone going through it. It may seem unlikely, but you will survive. Gather supporters. Never hesitate to seek professional aid. Remember to be kind to yourself. Some days I barely left bed when pain and betrayal overcome. Bit by bit, it grew easier. Looking back, I don't regret divorcing. Did it hurt? Absolutely. Though I regret our life and future, it taught me about tenacity, myself, and what I want in a partner in life. Everyone who assisted me was appreciated. Your warmth and insight were valued. One chapter of my life ends. I'll always appreciate your help. An imperfect life. I still have hard days and unexpected pain. Still hopeful. Relearning to trust and connect with new individuals. For once, I'm excited about the future. Better times are ahead.